A clay-covered bone in a white bucket may be the final missing piece in the puzzle surrounding the death of local real estate agent Virginia Freeman.
Simply sampling some human tissue for the purpose of doing DNA.
That sample comes from convicted murderer James Otto Earhart, who was executed in 1999. Wednesday, his body was exhumed so investigators can compare his DNA with DNA found under Freeman's fingernails.
In this case, the bones are in good shape, so there shouldn't be any problems.
But this case has been nothing but a problem for investigators. Its one lead investigator, Kenny Elliott, and Texas Ranger Joshua Ray say they are happy to have solved.
We've put everything we got into this case. I mean, we have spent a lot of time traveling across the country, multiple different states, in hotel rooms late at night, going through evidence that we've already gone through.
He says the time and effort spent was worth it to bring closure for the Freeman family.
Hopefully at some point it brings some type of finality, some type of closure for them, but it takes time. I mean, nothing can replace her.
And nothing can replace the exceptional role science played in solving this decades-old case.
At the time of this homicide, there was no such thing as DNA. It had not come about.
Yeah.
And now just how far DNA has come is just absolutely amazing. DNA is my very best friend.
Now Freeman's case may just be the tip of the iceberg for cold cases across the country.
Hey, this is proof that we're not done yet finding out what we can do with DNA, and there's potential that we can solve so many other cold cases.
In Huntsville, Whitney Miller, News 3. Usually, Terrence Mitchell visits grave sites in Bryan to engrave their headstones.
Oh.
This time, it's a personal visit, checking on his uncle, Freddie Wayne Watson.
There's no way I thought 4 years later we still wouldn't know who did this.
The 55-year-old was killed on New Year's Day 2015. Terrence says he ran to the scene when he got the message Wayne had been shot.
The police won't let anybody go anywhere close, but I already heard it was him, so I know it was him.
Police took us to the scene in March near the corner of MLK and Preston. That's when they were asking the public for more information.
We've gotten a lot of tips, but unfortunately we haven't been able to solidify any of it.
Police say Watson was gunned down just after 10 p.m. The shooter had taken off in an unknown vehicle.
It was just crazy. It's hard to really believe that, someone killed this guy, because anyone who knew Freddie, they know Freddie was all about good times, always smiling all the time.
Mitchell says he's heard thousands of stories about his uncle's death, but none of them have produced any leads. He says to get by, he prays for the murderer.
If I continue to try to figure out who did what, it'll drive us crazy. We would love for the justice to be served here.
He says his Uncle Freddie is the reason why he puts so much energy into his work.
We still remember you. We haven't forgotten you.
In Bryan, Whitney Miller, News 3. Along FM 244 in Grimes County, there's a mystery on the side of the road, one that's haunted former Detective John LaFleur for nearly 4 decades. You still know the spot?
Yeah, you don't forget that.
Iola, Texas, 1981.
And one of the highway department men just stuck a shovel in it to pick it up and throw it away, and the skull fell out.
The body of a teenage woman was found inside of a trash bag. Detectives say she'd been dead between 3 and 6 months.
Left like she was for trash. She's not trash, she's somebody's child.
Back then, a confessed serial killer, Henry Lee Lucas, claimed he and a friend committed the murder.
He said, yeah, and while I was choking her, I just beat her with a tire tool, which is exactly right. Nobody would have known, because her hand's broken right here, and the tire tool will fit right in that broken hand, and her hit skull.
No one was ever charged with the murder because both men were already serving time for other murder convictions. But even with the confession, the case is still cold.
But I'd like to find out who she is. I think her parents or her family definitely deserves to have her back.
Lucas called the woman Cheryl, but told detectives he didn't remember her last name.
It's been nearly 37 long silent years since Cheryl's body was found in a ditch along FM 244. But now investigators are hoping that new technology will help them finally identify her.
The original report from the sheriff's office.
Lieutenant Daniel Wagner is now working with the University of North Texas to test Cheryl and items found around her for DNA matches.
She was very small in stature. She was probably 5'3". I believe she had auburn hair, which we are testing that now.
The only thing found with her body was a popular 1904 coin medallion ring.
She was reportedly from Durham, North Carolina. If that was true, she could be from anywhere.
While her DNA hasn't yet been linked to any family members, Wagner hopes the public can help solve this mystery.
As time goes by, it's going to be harder and harder to find any leads or witnesses that are still alive or new clues that could come up, because science can only solve so much.
Shot in the head and left for dead on the side of the road, just 12 miles outside of Bryant.
On Sandy Point Road, just over the hill from OSR, down in what we consider the river bottom.
Sheriff Chris Kirk was the lead investigator back then and says he remembers the call vividly.
It appears that whoever did this actually just pulled him out of a car, he's right on the side of the road, and shot him in the head. There was no signs of a struggle, no indication at all that he put up a fight.
And since that day, the case has gone cold.
It's been baffling because we just don't know what the motive is. I mean, normally sex, drugs, or money are your motives. We can't find anybody that had any ill will against Mr. Gibson. We can't find, certainly, that he had anything worth stealing.
But now, as the 30th anniversary of Gibson's death approaches, detectives are taking another look at the case.
Piece of actually his belt.
And a closer look at the evidence.
With the DNA technology we have today, there's a lot better chance of finding some evidence like that, and so we're exploring the possibilities of resubmitting some of the evidence.
Has anything popped out to you that maybe you didn't notice before?
You know, there isn't from my perspective, but that's why we're reopening it. We're letting another investigator and one of the Texas Rangers is going to work with us, and they're going to look at it as well. Maybe they'll see something that I didn't see.
But more than evidence, they want help from the public, hoping the case rejogs someone's memory of William Reddy Gibson.
Somebody may not even realize the significance of what information they have that could be very helpful.
It's a road he travels daily.
Unfortunately, everything's changed since 1980.
For Detective Thomas Bean of the Walker County Sheriff's Office, this stretch of Interstate 45 is still a mystery.
Honestly, nobody should ever be treated like that. Nobody at all.
On November 1st, 1980, a truck driver spotted a woman's body in the grass. She'd been strangled, raped, and left for dead.
Everything about this case is difficult.
For the past 37 years, she's rested here at the Oakwood Cemetery, a place full of names, hers still unknown.
If we could positively identify the victim, there's a very good chance that we can identify a suspect.
Investigators believe she was only 15 and may have been in Huntsville for only a day or so before she was murdered. Over the years, a lack of evidence has made it hard to ID the Walker County Jane Doe.
When I read the report back from 1980, I just want to be like, why didn't you swab this and why didn't you do that? But it wasn't there. And the deputies who responded out to the scene and the investigators, and they did everything that they knew to do.
And now, Bean wants to do everything he can.
At this point, I'm willing to look anywhere. If there's a missing person from New York that looks like her, I'm willing to look at it.
And a good lead could mean closure to a decades-old mystery.
When you leave somebody like that on the side of the road, a young girl like that, a young boy, anything, it gives us a little more drive to want to find this person, because you don't want them doing it to somebody else.